Clark Neely, Senior Vice President for Legal Studies at the Cato Institute. I'm here to talk to you today about something that is much in the news and much on people's minds, and that is police misconduct. Police obviously are a very important part of our criminal justice system. In some ways, they're the tip of the spear. They're the people that we send out when there's a crime in progress or when there's something going on that needs to be addressed. So it's really important that we get this right, because that's, for most people, they're kind of their main point of contact with the criminal justice system. And of course, the most important thing about police to keep in mind is just the sheer amount of power and authority and discretion that we have to clothe them with in order for them to do their jobs. We send them out into the community carrying weapons with the ability to arrest people and take away their freedom, and the ability to use a tremendous amount of discretion about what kinds of crimes to make an arrest for and what kinds of crimes to just turn a blind eye to. And so it's extraordinarily important that we get this question of police oversight and police conduct right. And I think a lot of us, myself included, feel that we're not really getting that right, that there's a lot of improvement that can be done and needs to be done. And one of the most important reasons, of course, is that people need to have confidence in the police. They need to feel that they can trust the police and that they can be safe around the police, and that police are there to make their neighborhoods better and safer. And if people have a perception, which I think many people do, that police misconduct is a serious problem, then of course that is going to erode that trust that we need people to have in police. Now, what do we mean when we talk about police misconduct? What we mean essentially is that police are given certain powers that they need in order to do their job. The power, for example, to stop your car when you're driving down the road, or to detain you on the street and ask you questions. And that power has to be exercised consistent with the Constitution, consistent with people's constitutional right, for example, to go about their business without being hassled by representatives of the government, consistent with people's right to not have people barge into their home looking for evidence or just harassing them. And the challenge with police misconduct is both drawing those lines so it's clear to the police what they are permitted to do and what they're not permitted to do, but also then ensuring that those lines are respected so that police do not step over them, whether accidentally or deliberately. What are some of the ways that police engage in misconduct? Well, unfortunately, most of us have seen videos that make one way very clear, and that is the unreasonable use of force. When police, for example, punch somebody in the face who's already been put in handcuffs and doesn't represent a threat to the police or anybody else. Or when police make a traffic stop, not because they observed any kind of an infraction, but simply because they think it's suspicious that a particular person is driving a particular car in a particular neighborhood. That is a complete violation of the Fourth Amendment. Police have to have reasonable suspicion that a crime has been committed or some other infraction before they can make that stop. But we know that it happens anyway. There are any number of ways that police can engage in misconduct and violate the important civil rights that all of us have. And again, most of us are all too familiar with some of those ways because we've seen so many examples on YouTube. Then the question becomes, what are some ways that we can try to discourage and prevent police misconduct? And I think the most important way is with effective oversight, where we make clear to the police that you work for us, not the other way around. We don't have to justify ourselves to you. You have to ultimately justify yourselves to us, because we are your employers. We are the ones who have hired you to go out and do a job. It is our job to have oversight of you because we hired you to go out and do that job. And another important feature of discouraging police misconduct is accountability, making sure that police understand that if they do their job properly, they will be rewarded and respected. But if they engage in misconduct, if they hurt people unnecessarily, if they violate people's rights, there will be consequences. Whether those consequences are financial or getting fired from your job, or sometimes even being sent to prison, the way that Derek Chauvin was when he was convicted of murdering George Floyd in Minneapolis. Those are all forms of accountability, and that is an absolute necessity in preventing and discouraging police misconduct.